Uh-oh, looks like they sent some goodies. All right. Look how dark I am. Like I live in the shadows. Hey, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Glad you're here. I'm getting the shop opened up so we can start a day in the shop. Got a lot of unusual repairs. Got a lot of unusual work going on here lately. A lot of intermittence, but the effort's not intermittent. Get the shop open up, figure out what we're doing today once everyone else gets in, and we're gonna make it work one way or another. That's why I named the channel that. That's why I named the channel Jimmy Making It Work, because you're gonna find a way to make it work no matter what. Intermittent problems, classics, monster trucks, European exotics that are 20 years old, cheap Chinese parts, inferior, defective US made parts. Let's stop horsing around. Let's get this thing opened up and see what's going to be first, because I have no idea today. Stay tuned. We're going to have some fun and we're going to learn a thing or two. All right, let's get this thing fired up. We got a gloomy day today for Floridita. Look at the clouds out there, huh? That is crazy. The grass needs to be mowed too, apparently. We haven't cut the grass in a little while. But we're doing warranty transmission work on the Never Left. Not really a comeback when they don't leave. I hope it had no stereo in it. I don't remember. You guys remember if it had a stereo in it? Interesting. Nobody would pop this out, take the stereo and put it back on, would they? You guys remember? Alright, this is a 2016, for those of you who might not have seen it before. We put a transmission in it, and a coil and spark plugs. So now, we're going to fix the transmission we put in, and maybe take a look at that misfire. First, I want to get the transmission working. A lot of guys were saying guides and seats, but an error common failure on these, but it just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like it to me. The diagnosis on the misfire, I don't even remember doing any diagnosis on it. I think the front desk, they just guessed. They said, we'll get a coil and plugs to see if that fixes it. I think it was that kind of a thing. It's actually running pretty good right now. It does have a tiny bit of miss. The lower the idle gets, the more you feel it. You bring the idle up. You hear the transmission whine like crazy. I'm going to look and see if the filter might have come off first. If the filter is still in place, then I got to take the other pad off and do the solenoid pack they sent us in the mail. Gear wrench truck's here. He brought me my, they sent out my charger, took a dump, and he had actually given it to me. But it stopped working after about 3 months. So he sent it into Milwaukee. They gave me a new charger. That's cool. I gotta get the pan off of here. There's 2 pans. I'm gonna pull this one off first and see how the filter looks. And if everything looks good, then this pan comes off. I gotta take the valve body off to change out that solenoid pack. We'll see. I see little traces of transmission fluid back here and little traces over here, but I don't know if I don't think I spilled anything. I don't know. All I can do is take this pan off and see what it looks like. That's the bottom line. One more. Alright, I think what I'll do is I'll put one back in here a little bit so it doesn't make a big splash when I break that silicone seal loose. And there is silicone everywhere. Guess that's how they want it. Alright, we get close now. Nothing going on with that. Filter is still intact. I'll let it drain a little while, clean it up. I'm not sure if that shows up on camera or not, but if you look, you can see the Scotch lock sanding pad scratches all over it. That's probably why I'm seeing a little silicone. Everywhere there's silicone, I can see a little bit of seepage because they Scotch locked the whole transmission case. They Scotch locked the pan. See the sanding marks in the pan?
Yeah, we gotta do anything to get this car out of the first bay.
I wonder if we should be concerned about all the metal and sparklies in the pan already. The transmission's got 5 miles on it. Try to show you this without getting the GoPro full of training fluid, but you see the filter. A lot of sediment on the screen. I wonder if the filter is getting plugged with whatever all this sediment is plugging the screen. Possible. While I'm waiting to talk to the transmission people, I got a sweet backup camera from Dorman to install. I'm guessing it's a GM camera, or whoever makes them for GM. They don't make their own cameras, obviously. Let's take a look. Uh-oh, I dropped my tie wrap. What does it say on there? It's either MY or NY or HM. What do you think? GML 576. So, put a Dorman sticker on a GM camera, basically, or the supplier's camera. Got to take off what they like to call the applique. I call it the tailgate panel. Whatever makes you happy.
Hey, you get them off.
All right. Come on, you little push clip some gun. Not as complicated as it looks. Yeah, something's happening. There you go. You never think that little tiny thing could be so much trouble. 7 or 8 millimeter, let's see. Really long 8 millimeter screws. Come on, you. Oh, they are 7, but it was so loose that it came right out with an 8. That's better. The rest is clips. I'm hoping it'll slip out from under the windshield trim, because it looks like you gotta take the hood shocks and stuff apart. That would make me a little sad. I'm hoping it comes out from under it, but we'll see. This is sharp stuff too. They trap it in there, so you got to take it off at least a little bit. You got it. Look at this. They almost make you take it apart, I think. So now it's just the wiring harness. Up, 2 wiring harnesses. There's a lot of stuff going on over here. I'm gonna flip you guys around. Hang on. Whoa! 10, 10, 10, 10. An electrical connector. And if you try to lower the tailgate at all, it tries to shut, so just leave it that way. And when you're vertically challenged, use an extension. Oh, the Caravan, they're going to send a whole transmission. I think metal debris is plugging the filter, and that's the sediment in the pan. So we sent them a picture, and they said, all right, we'll send you a transmission. Don't put the solenoids in. Cool little snap they put in there. That is cool. There you go. It's easy. Camera's not doing so good though. And this thing, I was wondering if I could sneak it out of there without taking this apart. Nope. They're serious about keeping someone from stealing your camera, I guess. All because the plastic is broken. I didn't want it to fall out again. Someone probably used it as a door handle. Alright, you only get one crack at getting this on the right way. So it goes like that. All of that for that. Alright, let's get this thing back together. I think I gotta tuck all the wiring back. It's a little long. It's alright, we'll figure it out. It was in there before, it'll be in there again. So it just kind of snaps back on. Make sure it's under these studs. It's starting to smell like a brand new car already. Can't have to scratch anything, because that would be terrible. There's a little snap in the center. There you go. Feeling brave. I'm going to put it all back together before I test it. It's a GM Dorman part. What could go wrong? Put it on there. You got to catch this clip's got to go through this piece and then into the metal because it holds this on too. So once you do that, you're home free. It practically falls right on after that. At least that's what they told me to say in GM training. Alright, you. Let's do this. Pretty slick. They got metal hidden inside the plastic handle so it doesn't break all the time. It only breaks once in a while. Perfect. Let's go try that camera out. Look at that son of a gun. Turn the wheel, camera turns. All right now, I know there's stuff behind me. I'll park this thing and see what fiasco's next. I mean, what car's next? P51. I guess the P51s are out and about today. I'm gonna try to get one closer. That's terrible news.
Riley to the office, please. Riley to the office.
2010 Mitsubishi Lancer. That's the dimness info. I can't find the mileage. It doesn't have any mileage. It does have a love rating of 5. Nothing spectacular, nothing terrible. It's actually a good thing nowadays. Seems like only 3 out of 10, I should say, make a 5 or better. Service required, ABS, check engine light, TPMS flashing. And I can't get the info to change, so something's going on with the button. So, we're here for an AC check. That's basically the bottom line. It's a little colder on the left than it is on the right, so it means the Freon's probably low. I don't see separate actuators for temperature control. You got to be careful of that. If you get a car with dual temperature control, sometimes an actuator's bad. It'll make it hot on one side. But when you don't see that, and it's warmer on one side than the other, it's because the evaporator is sideways, and when it's low on Freon, the bottom will be colder than the top, and whichever side gets the bottom will be colder than the top. But even the side that seems to be working won't be working very well because it's low, if that makes sense. I really like to find the mileage out. Maybe if I turn the key off and back on. Oh, there you go. 188,139 miles. If you open the door with the engine running, it doesn't show you that. So, let's see if we can find out where the Freon went. Take a look at the pressures and all that kind of good stuff. See what direction we go with this. Probably has a slow leak, I'm gonna guess. Because almost every AC check I've done lately has a really slow leak that's hard to find. I miss like the GM trucks with a wet condenser, or the Fords with a blown up compressor, or Hyundais with a blown up compressor, or Hondas with bad AC clutches. And we don't get a lot of Mitsubishis. You guys, anyone who's a mechanic watches my videos, you get a lot of Mitsubishis where you're at? I'm surprised they're still around at all, because the only time I ever see them on the road is the occasional SUV and the occasional Mitsubishi Lancer. Maybe that's all they sell here anymore? I don't know. Anyway, carry on. I'm gonna show you something cool. I don't know if you can see that on camera. You probably can, because it's pretty bad. I'll give you the yellow glasses. See the hose? And if you look down really close, remove the hose, you can see the refrigerant oil kind of schmudzing around. I'm hoping that shows up, but looks like that hose is leaking. That's a source for a slow leak. And I don't see anything else. The high side hose, which normally leaks the most, has the same thing, oil around the edge where it's crimped. Now, is that fast enough that that's where the Freon went? Which by fast enough, I mean this car's a 2010, so it's 13 years. The caps were missing, so how many times has it been serviced? I kind of have to find that out. But I think I'm going to recommend the 2 hoses off the compressor, and then we'll go from there. They definitely have wet, I can see oil in that joint, which is no good. It shouldn't be anything like that. It should be completely clean and dried, no yellow whatsoever. I don't see any other leaks, so I think we're good to go with that. Let's see what happens with this one. That's what I'm going with. Came back from a road test, the Mitsubishi's gone. Volkswagen. 2014 Fahrvergnügen Jetta. 57,874 miles. Right about the life expectancy of your average Volkswagen. Pretty clean. let's say 5, maybe a 6. It's right at, what do you think, 5.5, something like that. The seat was all the way forward, and the back of the seat was all the way straight up. So I was literally like on the steering wheel like this. So I had to move it a little bit, but air was off, of course, too. So I had to do that. And we got to have some air conditioning, right? Be kind of crazy. It's a muggy day. It's not hot, but it's muggy. Let me tell you something. Anyway, we're looking at this for a noise. The only thing I hear is like an air box, like someone put a hot air intake on it. Other than that, it's completely silent. I'm gonna look under the hood and see. The clock's also not accurate. It's off about 2 hours. Everything's in place. Everything looks good. A lot of dirt and dust, but no clamps off or anything weird. No hot air intake. Strange. That's the only noise I can hear, is like a little bit of a roar, just like that, in case you wanted to hear it again. Let me get some more information from Paul Harvey, and we'll come back. All right. Oil's good. Yep. It went from a noise while driving to a noise when starting cold only. And the dipstick is coming apart, so it's going to need one of those. Volkswagens, they love to do that. They used to be orange. They made them yellow, but same problem. So I think we're going to have this one overnight. She says first thing in the morning when she starts it, it makes a lot of noises. Sounds like a chain noise type deal. We'll see what happens with this one if we do any more. Like I said, keeping it overnight so I can hear it, but we know what's probably going to be the case. This has a belt, it looks like. Or it's a plastic timing chain cover. It's plastic, it's possible. Sometimes they have both, a chain and a belt, just for fun. Alright, we'll see what happens with this one. Uh-oh, another broken Honda. AC on this one too. It's kind of weird. It's serious when they come in with the windows down. That means the air doesn't work at all. 2015 Honda CR-V. 112,632 miles. It's actually pretty clean. They got little booster seats in here, so they got some kids to deal with. That's actually, I'm giving this a 6, just based on those facts. This thing's pretty clean. AC's not working, so uh-oh. Now it's on. Should have automatic. Oh, there it is. Automatic. It's maxed out, but there's nothing happening whatsoever. Hook the machine up, see if there's Freon in it. And if there is, then we'll see what's going on with the compressor. Why it might not be on. Someone's stealing Freon. Oh, there's no Freon in there. That means it came out somewhere. That should be a little easier to find, don't you think? Unless someone took it out. I will say that this high side cap was loose. I mean, it wasn't even snug. It was just floating on there. So, maybe some hanky-panky. I don't see anything obviously wet where the Freon would go anywhere. I looked at the compressor with a flashlight. It looks good. Everything looks pretty good. These have the expansion valve inside, bolted inside under a cover. Maybe we'll just put a little Freon in it and see if it comes out somewhere. Let's try that. That'll take a second. Sign, here's your sign. I got a sign for you. Alrighty. We're getting some Freon in there. I'm going to try to get this thing, see if it works good. Well, finding out where the Freon might have went is going to be a little bit of an afterthought. I want to see if I can get it cold for now. And then we'll have to figure out why the Freon wasn't in it. So what I'll probably do is look in the drain tube for traces of dye, stick the little sniffer in there, see if we can find something going on with that. Not very cold on the left side. And I've got it full of Freon. The pressure's at 200 over 38 or so. You can see that on the little machine up there. Cool on the right and a little warmer on the left. We will try this. Sometimes something as simple as that will make a difference. Sometimes you have to do a door calibration. I'm not sure why that would be an issue. Could also just have something going on with the blend door. Got a lot to figure out. You get 0.5, so let's make sure we're thorough. I'm gonna have to put my scanner on it and see if there's any codes for actuators or anything now. So let's get the scanner on it. Come on, 7. What's nice about System List too is it tells you in plain terms what the abbreviations mean. Like if you're in topology, it doesn't tell you any of that. And I apologize if your machine doesn't have topology, but in System List, it tells you what all the abbreviations are. What do they call them? Acronyms? So we're going to go through here and look. Air conditioning system, enter. I'm going to see if there's a door recalibration we can do, or if there's a code. Honda has what's called a climate control unit self-test. That's what we're doing. Now it'll turn it off. Like you heard, the fan turned off. It's going to run through some tests. It'll mess with all the doors, see what it thinks about actuator positions, and it'll move from defrost to vent and all that kind of stuff, heat. And then it'll tell me if it doesn't like something it saw. The auto climate control unit is functioning normally. No, it's not. Okay, off. Okay, on. Didn't say start engine, just said on. Kind of strange. Now I'm going to look at data stream. Oh, it doesn't tell you much of anything, huh? That's terrible news. AC pressure switch thermal protector on. Hackett enable signal. You guys know what a Hackett enable is? I don't know. Let's give this a minute to run, see what happens. If anything's different, I don't think it will be. Something going on with that left side. Maybe it's not all the way to cold. No, low, so it's all the way to cold, right? What do we do now? You guys know? You got any ideas? Tell me in the comments. I'm going to scan through all the modules. Maybe there's a code in something else making it not work correctly. And then I'm going to see what the pressure's low. That's not right. It's pulling the low side down into a vacuum like an expansion valve problem. Also why it wouldn't be very cold. It's not, if the expansion valve sticks too far closed, it won't flow enough freon to absorb the heat. Air conditioning doesn't really make air cold. It pulls the heat out of the air, if that makes sense. So if you watch that low side, I mean, it'll pull it all the way down to a vacuum. That's not right. So there's something going on with the expansion valve. I'm going to try to overfill it slightly and see if that makes it change a little bit. Don't try this at home, kids. When I say overfill, I mean 1/10 or 2. I don't mean another pound. Generally, they won't let you overfill them unless you have the engine running. So I'll shut the engine off and I'll try to put a couple more tenths in it. I put exactly what it calls for in right now. I'll put a couple more tenths in it, see if anything changes with the symptoms. Alright, overfilling it a few tenths made it colder. If you watch the gauge up there, I can still pull the low side down, bringing it up to about 2,000 RPM or so. From here it looks like 15, 16 PSI. So something's going on with the expansion valve. Overfilling it made it cooler, but it's still not as great as Hondas normally have a real good bite to them when they're working correctly. A lot of the Japanese cars have pretty good air conditioning systems, all based on the amount of cubic feet it can cool per minute versus the size of the vehicle. They tend to overdo their AC systems a little bit, I guess, because they always felt a little colder to me. Lately, I think that gap's closed compared to what it was 20 years ago, but anyway. Well, Houston, we have a problem. I'm letting this thing start itself up. It takes a minute. I want to say the evaporator's leaking on this thing. I put a ½ pound in it. Wasn't seeing any leaks. I said the expansion valve looks like it's sketchy. That don't look right. I see a little yellow dye on the ground. I rolled it forward from there to lift it. That's bad news. Okay, evaporator's leaking and an expansion valve. I wonder where the Freon went. It's nice when one goes easy. And I didn't give it back to the customer and have a comeback. I'm gonna pull the Freon back out of it because I'm guessing the thing will be empty again by Saturday night or Sunday, the way it looks like it's leaking. So now I go up front, tell them the bad news. If I put a ½ pound in it, no leaks. Try to fill it up, leaks. So nice, cut and dry. At least we know what we're dealing with and it's not going to be like a big surprise. Well, I'll tell you what, you can really get burned if you get in a rush. We'll see what happens with this one. They're in the waiting room waiting for it, so they'll probably end up taking it and bringing it back when they have a chance to do the work. But we'll see. Man, now that is a beauty. This one died on him on the road and wouldn't start. And the tow truck driver said he started it and drove it on the wrecker. But doesn't start right now. Oh, there it goes. All right, let's get it in the shop before it shuts off. Low power, and it's been here like it was written 20-something tickets ago. So now that I finally had a chance to get to it, we'll take a look. It definitely feels like it's got some serious issue. Well, the oil light's on. Check engine light's on. a whole bunch of lights on. I'm gonna get a sunburn on my knuckles if I'm not careful. 2004 325. Bring my wallet. Broken mechanical wonder. 134,775 miles of beautiful luxury status. The hood release is probably not coming to the party, I'm guessing. Ah, that's terrible news. Probably hard to see out the rearview mirror. That's not my concern though, really. My concern is, why does it not start? It runs really bad, and the wipers are halfway up the windshield. I'm going to give this a love rating of 3, and that's taken into consideration the fact that it's 20 years old. So, see if I can get the hood open, and see if I can get a scanner on it, and see why it doesn't run. Oh well, sometimes it doesn't run. Let's get these two to shake hands, and see where we're at. I wouldn't be surprised if there's 35 codes or so. But what we'll do is we'll pick the important ones out of the list and start there. It runs really bad, by the way. Like, it's got, these things are bad for the breather and PCV systems all breaking and crumbling and stuff. So we'll see. Now she's got about 25 codes or so. I wrote down the important ones. Oil level, oil temperature, coolant temperature, engine temperature, and misfires for 5 of the 6 cylinders, and something about the cam timing, which I believe this has the variable timing mechanism on the camshaft under the valve cover that they go bad a lot and cause multiple misfires and all that kind of thing, and rough idle like it has now. So I'm guessing we've got several problems. One of them, it also has a mass airflow code. There it is. That'll do it. Connector's broken and it wasn't on. So that'll make it run lean too and run rough. First thing I'm going to do other than fixing that is look for coolant and for coolant leaks. And see if we can figure that out, because first we got to control the temperature before anything else. Alrighty. I think the list would be shorter to say what the car doesn't need. We got oil leaks. This is from me. I loosened the cap. There's already pressure built up. I only ran it a few minutes and some coolant came out. Power steering, oil leaks. Got some issues. This thing's from up north, I guess. Oh, that's shock scene better days. Interesting. I don't know why I'm looking at the brake. Oh, goodness gracious. There's only 1/4 of an inch of the pad touching the brake rotor. Alright. That's not even why it's here. Why am I looking at that? I just like to know what I'm dealing with, what I'm getting into, and why it was waiting for me to get to it. So, only one person right for the job. Let me see here. Alright. Let's see if the fan's working. It feels like the clutch is a little bit loose. See how that really spins easy? That's not good. But sometimes they'll lock up when it gets hot, so I'll have to check that. I don't see any visible leaks other than where I spilled a little bit. I'll let it cool off so I can get the cap off of there and get a really good look at it without any pressure on it. Wow, it ran better with the mass airflow unplugged. Maybe that's why someone unplugged it. Oil's a 1/2 quart low, the coolant's okay. But you can see the fan is definitely seen better days. I think I'll just start making a list and I'll go answer the phone. The phone is ringing! Interesting. Alright, this thing smells a little like a really old European car. It normally smells like horse hay or whatever it is. I'm gonna have to sit in it though to keep it running, because it won't stay running with the mass airflow plugged in. And I can't put the windows down because the regulators, just you can hear the cables or something. Anyway, there's not much I can do about it. I got to try to keep it running. I'm going to bring up engine temperature, mass airflow information. All right, have a good weekend. And I'm going to bring up if there's fuel pressure PIDs and misfire PIDs. I'm going to bring those up too. We'll take a look at some data and figure out what direction to go. This is one of those cars that has so many things wrong. Where do you start? It's got 3 wheels in the junkyard. So we'll see what happens. I'm guessing if you don't have a good hood release on it and you don't fix your headliner and your windows and the whole other list of things. You're probably not going to spend a lot of money, so if I write an estimate for $1,000 or $2,000, which probably won't cover 10 or 20% of what it needs, it's probably going to be declined anyway. It really kind of takes the motivation out of you, but you have to be thorough, because if I give him a list of problems and I'm not accurate about it, and I just jump over a bunch of steps and write down a bunch of things I think it needs, and then he takes it somewhere else and I was wrong, then I'm the bad guy, and I don't want to be that guy. So I'm going to go through, find some of those data PIDs, bring them up, and we're going to do a good job, figure out the things that might make this car run a little better, and we'll see what he wants to do after that. All right, I got some data PIDs up. One of the first things I notice here, coolant temp minus 54 degrees. So sensor's either bad or unplugged. Intake air temp looks accurate. Oil temperature's probably accurate. My temperature gauge is pegged, but my coolant temperature is at minus 54. So probably this thing defaults when it's not sure what the temperature is. It pegs it to try to get someone to fix it. It's got a definite misfire, like a dead hole or two. I'm going to bring up the misfires. Maybe we'll put a vacuum gauge on it and see. It might have a dead cylinder or two. Smooth running values. Select all. And the way BMW does this, it shows you how much correction it has to make for each cylinder. You see the cylinders that stand out. 6 is very high. 3 and 4 are very low. The rest of them are kind of in the middle. So I don't see a fuel pressure PID. Signal, bank 1 before cat. Bank 2 before cat, after cat, after cat. See if they're happy enough. Oh, goodness gracious. Come on, top down, you're killing me, bro. Yeah, they're all reading lean. So, very possible here that we have a low fuel pressure problem. Got a half a tank of gas. Engine's picking up speed. I'm keeping my foot steady on the throttle. All of a sudden the engine got a little happier. That's a good sign. Let me see if I can find some more data PIDs. Maybe the coolant temperature is showing better now, and that's why I started running better? No, still minus 54. All I'm doing at this point is compiling more diagnostic information so that I know what things we need to test further, so that we can write ourselves a little list of issues. The air conditioning actually works okay. Off idle. At idle it wasn't cold at all. I bet you it's because the fan clutch locks up a little bit more when you bring the engine speed up. Let's see if we have a mechanical problem. I feel that misfire, like 1 or 2 cylinders on coming to the party. If I put a vacuum gauge on, it'll show me mechanical condition of the engine, give you a rough idea. Compression test is the best way. But if I see a nice steady needle, or if it's overall low, the whole engine might be weak. If it's bouncing, I have a valve train problem, that kind of thing. The other problem is keeping it running. And also, these aren't too easy to find a vacuum port. So we're going to get those 2 things taken care of, and then we'll come back. Looking around here, I'm noticing more issues. Like this is discombobulated, and silicone holding it in up there. So this thing, this is not good, any of this stuff. Alright guys, we got a little mood lighting here from the old headliner deal. That's nice. That would really bother the heck out of me. I'd have to fix that before anything. I'd let the engine not run if I could fix the headliner. So I'm going to recommend a compression test, valve cover gasket, mass airflow connector, inspect the coil and spark plugs while it's apart, the air intake boot, coolant temperature sensor, and connector for it. And that's where we're going to start, and then we'll see what happens with this one. I'm suspecting we're going to push it out in the grass with the others probably, but we'll see. You never know. So thanks for watching today's video, guys. We're going to probably play with this one Monday if we are permitted to do any more on it. And I hope I see you then. I hope you torque the like button on your way out. Maybe subscribe if you got something from this week's videos or today's video. Hope I see you in the next video, because you're awesome.